Well, Jay, we have been accused before of comparing green apples to oranges, but on this one, I think we've done a great job matching up two cars. We have two four-door performance EVs, and they're close in price. They're really close in performance. What do we have here? What's this big pumpkin?
2025 Hyundai Ioniq 5N. It's more than your regular Ioniq, and it's got 601 horsepower. It's got 545 pound-feet of torque. You got the little boost button that gets you up to 641 horsepower and 568 pound-feet of torque. It's got big performance tires, and it's got all the bits and pieces that make it fast and fun. What do you got over there in the green?
Over here in the green apple, is a Ford Mustang. I have to do that every time.
I know.
Mach-E GT. And though it only has 480 horsepower, this guy packs 700 pound-feet of torque. And that means it's within a 10th, 0 to 100th time of this Hyundai Ioniq 5N. So they're close in performance, and they're also pretty close in price. The as-tested price of this guy is $78,000, and Jay, the as-tested price of yours?
A touch over 80, but I'm gonna throw my air asterisks in there. If you opt for the matte paint, it's gonna be a little more. If you opt for one of these glossy colors, it's gonna be a lot less. So fairly even as far as price goes.
They're the same type of vehicle. They're both EV performance crossovers. They're within spitting distance of price, and they're really close in performance. What are we testing today?
Functionality, because you're not gonna live on a racetrack. Well, you might, but
It would be cool.
it would be. Most people are gonna use this as a daily driver and have fun on the weekends. So we're gonna go with seat comfort and a little bit of cargo space and infotainment, just all the things you live with in a vehicle, regardless of whether it's a non-performance version of these two cars or these two cars here. But these high-performance EVs are more than function and practicality.
Exactly. We're also testing empirically the fun. Which one of these is more fun to drive in a street setting? We're not on a track, we're not timing laps, but in real world scenarios, which is more fun and rewarding to drive, which I think is the party trick of these two vehicles. They're practical and they're fun, but which one is most practical?
And which one is most fun?
So I think before the rain comes,
It's already here a little bit, so let's get out of the oncoming rain and into these fun cars.
how about we start with the Mustang? I mean the Mustang.
Giddy up.
Say it's not even a real Mustang. You can't.
Can I give you air quotes, giddy up?
Electric giddy up. All right, we're all gassed up for this review. All right, Jay, we're in the Mustang, and we go into the drive modes. We're going to be unbridled. The weirdest drive mode. One thing I do like right off the bat, look at the shifter.
Yeah, but it doesn't stop. There's no lock. Keep turning it.
Oh, look at that.
Just like the Maverick. Come on
okay.
forward. Is it okay though?
Yeah.
All right.
I like it because I can see it. The Hyundai one's like behind the steering wheel.
But it frees up so much space.
Oh my God.
Not scripted. Oh, hate me.
And that is what 700 pound-feet of torque can do for you.
So we know that the Mach-E GT is fast.
It's really fast. 0 to 60 in about 3.5 seconds. It is a fast car. And the other thing I like is that I love how cushy it is. Even the wheel is like soft to touch. The seats are extremely comfortable. This is an everyday car. I really like that.
And you have power seats for the driver and passenger. And
Memory seats.
bonus points to Ford here for making a height adjuster for the passenger.
That's true. Usually they cheap out on that stuff.
Right.
They being car makers.
Yeah, everybody does, but it's pretty good here. Now, one little criticism I have about the seats, the shoulder bolsters, these little wings up here, not adjustable. So depending on, you know, how wide your back is or shoulders are, it might not be a one size fits all.
Yeah, it's definitely something you should try out. But I would say both these cars are pretty, you know, performance oriented. So the seats are, you know, kind of intense on both. Like they both have a lot of bolster in them, which is good because both these cars drive really nice. I think the biggest difference between the two in terms of handling is the Ford has narrower tires, 245 section versus the Hyundai, which has 275s. And those summer tires are optional on this one. We just have like regular Continental Pro Contact tires. So just like regular sporty car tires versus the Hyundai, which has like P0. But we'll get more into that in the Hyundai. Right now, I just love driving this car on like a winding road. I find it super fun, and it's for an electric car, it's like playful. It wants to turn, it likes to rotate. This is actually like a good handling car. I found the ride to be pretty good, like over this bump. It's on the firm end of what I would consider soft and neutral. It just drives so sweet, Jay.
Now you are in unbridled, so I'm gonna flip you out to engage, which is a level down. Now, the wording on the infotainment system says balanced drive, everyday fun.
That is basically the whole car's MO.
Do you notice a difference when I flip you from unbridled to engage?
The pedal gets a little more numb.
Okay, let's go down one more to whisper.
Oh.
Seamless drive, calm and quiet. Smoother acceleration and steering, the best mode for slippery conditions.
I guess. I mean, the steering feels lighter and the pedal feels a little bit more numb.
Okay, and I want to flip you all the way to the top again to unbridled.
Yeah.
Okay, so I feel a little bit of the tug here. These headrests, full marks, I will say, Ford. Thank you very much for that.
So which drive mode do you like? Because I drive around and engage the most, and I like it.
I also do engage the most because it's got the right balance. It does have the unbridled mode if you want a little more responsiveness in it. But I feel even with 700 pound-feet of torque and nearly 500 horsepower, most people will live in the world of engage.
Now, I think the other thing is, I really like this interior. I mean, the Mach-E is not a new product, really. It's been around, we've been around it for a while now.
Right.
But I like this interior, this big, tall touchscreen. It's so easy, like all my climate functions right here.
Right,
and also, like when I touch the climate, now I can use the volume knob for climate. That's genius. And I also love the variety of materials in this interior. We have like this kind of suede, we have this kind of faux carbon fiber, we have the speaker grill material. I really like it.
But how far down did your eyes have to go to get to the HVAC?
I mean, it's about the same in the Hyundai, if I'm honest. Yes, it's down here at the bottom of the screen, but it's simple. It's one thing, I press it, I'm done. That was easy. The other thing I want to mention is that this car is a very fetching bronze package, which gives you these sweet bronze wheels, bronze badges with the green paint. Looks incredible, especially in the sunshine that we don't have today. But it carries with it an incredible price of $2,200.
I would much rather omit that from the build sheet and pick something else.
I would have the money. Yeah, the bronze wheels are nice. They're not $2,200 nice, nor glass panoramic sunroof. It's nice, lets in a bit of light. It's $1,900. So between these two options, we've added almost $4,000 to the MSRP of the vehicle, which is why its base price is, I believe, in the $72,000 range. And as tested, we're at 78, which brings it closer to the Hyundai. So the Ford actually has a significant price advantage over the Hyundai, even with these costly options, which don't affect the driving of the vehicle. The vehicle drives just as good without the sunroof and with, black or chrome wheels.
Now, if you are carrying passengers in the rear seats, I would absolutely get that sunroof. It's a fixed one, but it still lets lots of light in, because without it, and as you'll see in the Ioniq 5N, it's really dark back there. And that might not be an everybody thing, but again, if you've got a couple of kids or doing frequent trips with people, I would consider adding that sunroof if I were you. I
do think it's good that they let you get these as a standalone option. You don't have to get them with like a package. Mm-hmm. It's good for Ford to do that.
Now, on the functionality side, which is a key component of this review, I really did not like the instrument cluster
of the Ford,
because the edges are cut off by the steering wheel. And it's a long rectangle. Yes, they've played it smart by putting the speedometer dead center. However, seeing your range and the battery percentage, you've got to move your head a little bit, as opposed to what we have in the Ioniq N, where everything is, I don't want to say traditional, modern traditional, because it's the one long screen with two pieces. But more on that later on. Back to this. Do you care that you can't see all of your instrument cluster?
I mean, I feel like the instrument cluster in the two cars do different things. The Ford is actually like purposely minimal. I would even say like a Tesla, in that it just gives you basically speedometer, and you got a little tiny display here for your voltage and power consumption, and that is mostly it. This is a minimal screen. I actually don't love that I can't see the information on the corners, which is my drive indication. Like, it says I'm in drive right now. It tells me the speed limit. I'm in a speed zone. I don't mind that it's a little hard to see because it's a minimal screen versus the Hyundai is your typical information-filled screen with trip odometers, what am I listening to. A lot of that information is over here in this big center screen, so I don't mind it.
I think there's a lot of reliance on the infotainment screen. It's everything's there, and with anything mechanical and electronic for that matter, if one little piece goes, then what?
That's true. But one of the interesting things about this car is it was designed by Project Edison within Ford. So this is one of the first modern cars to be designed by a young workforce. Young engineers designed and built this car, and I think we see it in little spots like this big touchscreen because it was designed by people, frankly, younger than us that grew up with iPads. So I think that's super interesting. The other big advantage this car has over the Hyundai is Ford Blue Cruise, which is hands-free cruise control for the highway. Interestingly, this car has 90-day free trial Blue Cruise, and how much it costs after that, I don't know, because this is a press car. It's only around for 3 months. I don't know the price, but I will say that on the highway, I do enjoy using it. It is relaxing. It's actually smoother, and I prefer it to the Cadillac Super Cruise, which is similar, and it doesn't let me engage autopilot like, you know, in a shopping mall like autopilot. Okay, so what is the thing that you like the most about the Mach-E? What are like top 2 things you like about this car?
Top 2 things I like the most about the Mach-E GT are the seats and just the raw power.
It's got a lot of power. 2 least favorite things.
The infotainment screen and the instrument cluster.
Fair enough. I think for me, the 2 things I like the most, number 1, I like the entire interior experience. I actually prefer this interior in general as a living thing to the Hyundai. The Hyundai is a better art piece, but we'll get to that in a minute. But I love how functional this is. My gear shifter's right here. It's pretty sensible, even though I can turn it to infinity. The ergonomics in this are really, really good, even though I can't see the corners of the gauges like Jay said. And I think the other thing I like is its playful nature. Every EV now is fast. Every EV does this. They all do that. But the difference is that this one is actually like playful in corners. It feels sporty, you know? Like a lot of these EVs are fast, but they have to slow down and walk through these turns. I like the attitude.
I will say the Mustang Mach-E has a much more open feeling concept for the interior.
Really?
Yes, Hyundai has something similar, but not quite like this. And a lot of that is putting the gear selector just behind the cup holders and just having this big, massive portrait style screen. It feels more airy. You don't feel so crowded.
There's a little less happening in this interior, and I kind of like that. But I'd say that just in general, I love the design of this car. There's so many thoughtful touches that just pop up as you use it. I like the wireless charging pad for the phone. Lots of cars have that, but it's big and flat, meaning I can also put my keys and my sunglasses there. There's a cubby beneath that for purses, for small bags, for McDonald's burgers you're not quite done with yet. You know, it's got I like this armrest can get out of my way. And I also have a roll top here for more storage. Like, these are just really nice everyday things that aren't like game changer items, but together cohesively, I like how they work. I remember what I didn't like, which is it's weird like pop out push button door handles. You talk about things that are prone to fail. Here in Canada, where we get ice storms and snow, I worry about these little electric motors that have to pop out the door doing their job when it's -40 and this car is encased in 1.5 inches of ice.
I don't see how much of an aerodynamic advantage it is to have flush door handles.
It does look cool though, it looks really cool.
It looks cool until it breaks or it's not able to be used.
No, I would agree with you there.
Let's touch on the rear real quick. So as far as cargo space goes, there's a generous amount of it. It's functional. You can put a couple of suitcases back there. You can do your Costco runs back there. Everything you need to do is taken care of by the Mach-E.
Yeah, it fits 4 people, 5 in a pinch, but it fits 4 people with ease. Good enough cargo space. But now it's time to drive something guaranteed to make you grin, because it has a grin boost system.
Let's engage.
Oh God, get out of here. Well, Jay, should we get out of this car, drive it, park it, or should we just snap our fingers and be transported magically into the Hyundai?
Can I one-up you? do it. Can we high-five our way into the Ioniq?
Ooh, I like it. Get ready. Whoa!
Ioniq 5N.
I like it.
There's a lot to love here.
There's a complicated steering wheel in front of you.
Avril Lavigne doesn't mind, so we'll talk about that and explain it as we get going.
Ooh, and you can turn on the engine noise. Give it a rev, Jay. Are we in park? We're in park.
It's a little thin. Like,
it's cool. It's a car that makes noise.
I don't know. It's a little thin. I, unlike Clayton, will be a little on the respectful side here. Now, this is not quite a hybrid review right now, but you do hear the engine noise, and we're just going to keep talking to let you know what it's like in real life as you would hear this now. There it is. Now I'm going to bump out up N2 and go into N1, which...
Try to cancel the noise? Turns off the noise.
I understand the need to bridge the gap between internal combustion and EVs. Putting this little sound in here helps a little bit. And that's why we have these performance EVs, because even though the muscle car era is no longer with us, a lot of EVs, you know, whether it's a luxury manufacturer or a mainstream manufacturer, have gobs and gobs of power.
Now, I don't know if you're a fan of the fake noise, but I love it because it does two things.
I would love to hear this.
Number one, it does what no other EV can do and make low-speed driving entertaining. Because it's not just the noise, okay? Like, I know you hear the noise and it's got little paddle shifters for the fake gears. But what you can't get over video is that it actually moves the car like it's shifting. Like every time you upshift, it goes boom, boom, boom in the next gear. And when you downshift, you feel the gear come down like you would in a gas car. These little things are really good at actually fooling your brain into thinking you're driving a gas car, which is fun. The second thing it does that I like is it helps you know kind of mentally how fast you're going and how much throttle you're applying, because you can actually redline in the fake gears. Like, you can actually hit the top of first and it won't go any faster.
And that was gentle. That wasn't me hammering down.
Yes. But, you know, I like the fake gears, and it is a game changer for EVs. You know, like, use the paddle shifters.
Like, it's got some on a downshift a bit. There's some pretty fun.
It's got pops and bangs.
I know.
Here, go on the second. Do it. Give her. Shift. Like, it does the thing.
So never mind the responsiveness, because we know it is responsive. I generally don't care for any pumped-in sound, but this is...
It's kind of fun.
It's kind of
go down a gear and pin it. You know, like...
Instinctively, my brain says upshift, 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 because I'm going 6,000, 6,500, 7,000. But I'm like, oh wait, this is an EV. Nothing.
It fools you. It really does.
Nothing's going to happen.
So we're going to turn off the sound for the video's sake. So that's a fake sound, but we can't do the whole video about it. Just talk about other more productive things.
Let's go back to the steering wheel.
Let's.
It's a little much.
There's a lot going on there, Jay. What do you have in front of you?
I have my paddle shifters, which double as my brake regen. Thank you, Hyundai, for giving us the options for level 0, 1, 2, 3, and full one-pedal driving.
Which the Ford does not have.
Ford has either on or off.
Yeah,
that's it.
It does or it does not.
I have my drive modes for my left thumb, and I have the NGB, which is their 10-second boost, for my right thumb. And I go down to the middle, and those are your regular controls for audio and cruise control. And below that, on the bottom part of the steering wheel, is N1 and N2. So very similar to BMW with their M1 and M2 buttons. I wonder if, you know, maybe the fact that a bunch of BMW people now work at Hyundai have something to do with that.
We may never know.
We may never know, but it's a lot. And especially in a vehicle like this, you're not just going to go, well, I'm going to keep it in normal and just cruise around. This is meant to be driven. It's meant to be used as a performance vehicle, responsibly, of course. Now, the counter argument to myself is I don't know how I would fix this.
I don't think it needs fixing, because I think these cars are two different things. The Ford, like we talked about the gauge cluster, it's very minimalist. Mm-hmm. It just tells you speed, battery, range, and use. That's like it. This car is a video game car. If you ever grew up playing Gran Turismo, which I know you did not, more of a pole position kind of guy, but this is like video game car. Like I see you have your motor setting, steering setting, suspension setting, tire pressure, motor temperature, rear motor temperature, and battery temperature, and range, and odometer, all displayed on the dashboard right now. In addition to our fake tachometer. Like, there's so much happening, but this is the crux of the car. It's about these gimmicky features, which sound kind of silly, but make it more fun. Like, it has drift mode, launch mode, it has a track mode. Like, there's all these different modes for this car. It's endlessly configurable. This car is meant to be played around with, which I think is really cool, and it's why there's such actually a strong enthusiast base behind the N. And I did have a chance to go meet a lot of people behind the N division, and they are video game nerds like myself. It was no surprise to me that they made Gran Turismo the car. I love it.
Okay. Since you like the seats in the Mustang so much, I do find these fairly comfortable. I find the gimmick of having the N logo lit up at night also kind of cute. I wish that there was some kind of power mechanism. Even what
for weight savings, Jay. This car weighs 2,200 kilograms, by the way.
I think they can spare a few pounds, even if they did what Ford did with the Mustang, not air quotes Mustang, real Mustang, where half of it's power and half of it's manual.
Yeah, I think my biggest gripe with the seats is I get that they want to save weight. EVs are heavy and performance cars are light. There's a deficit, or the delta here to overcome. The thing that they did that I don't like is the height adjustment is integral with the rake adjustment. The more you lower the seat, the more you rake the seat. The idea being that if you have the seat low, you're a tall guy with a lot of legs, or a tall woman. But the point is that I just like to sit low, and I am short, so I end up sitting like this.
Like you're in an actual race car.
Or if you bring it up tall like Jay sits, I feel like I'm on a bar stool. So I don't like these measurements. The Miata actually does the same thing for height and rake, but I find that it works better in that car. I can't explain why. But I would say overall, a bunch of fun like Easter egg details. Like I love all the checkerboard pleats inside and out. They're on the door panel here. They're on the kick panel if you open the door. They're on Jay's pedals.
They're on the dead pedal. Like, there's a lot of fun stuff here.
This is a fun car made by people that want to have fun, and the whole thing is fun.
On the functionality and practicality side, I like that my HVAC controls, yes, they are below the infotainment screen, but they're not way down at the bottom like we had in the Ford.
I disagree with you.
As you should, because it's okay to be wrong. Sorry, camera. It's still haptic touch. There's very few physical buttons, but there are physical buttons. I've always liked Hyundai/Kia/Genesis's infotainment system. Not a lot of big menus to dig through to get to what you want. So for example, I'm going to swipe to the right. One touch puts me in N mode. A cute little graphic shows up, and all of my stuff is here.
I see that. So
the usability for the infotainment system is a lot easier, I find, here than it is in the Mustang Mach-E.
And I think one of the interesting things about these cars that's a big difference is actually the tires. You wouldn't think the tires would be like a big thing in a comparison test, but there's two things. This car has big, chunky tires. They're 275s front and rear. Those are big tires. The Mustang only has 245s. And not only that, these are Pirelli P0 sporty tires. These are serious tires. Can't really drive them in this rain. Can't really use them when it's cold. These are serious tires, and it makes a very different driving experience than the Mustang for a few ways. Number one, you have higher grip limits. The Mustang, it actually kind of slides a bit. You can play around with it, and it rotates a bit. This, unless you're on a track, this is like fast.
It's just exceptionally fast.
To play with grip. Your cornering limits are that much higher. The other negative things it does is it increases road noise on the highway, noticeably louder on the highway than the Mustang, and it noticeably decreases your range.
You know how you get rid of road noise?
How do you get rid of road noise?
With fake burbles and pops and snap crackles.
Do it. You're in Ford.
What road noise, Clayton Seams? Oh no. Anyway, let's go back to our nice, balanced, normal.
So the range is actually a difference between these cars as well. The Mustang has more because it's a 91 kilowatt hour battery versus this, which has an 84. The Mustang gets 448 kilometers of range, which is quite good, and this has 354? 356. So you do compromise on range for that sporty experience. That's a give or take up to think about, but the Mustang is the better car for long range stuff. And then there's the price. This costs more than the Mustang, it just plain does.
I'll stop you there for a sec and say you're right. However, Hyundai has jammed everything into this vehicle. You have cooled seats. If we're talking about saving weight,
that's true.
Come on, give me a power seat over cooled seats. We have a head-up display. Safety first when you're on a track. We have the retractable sunshades for the rear windows.
Why do you need those?
You don't? For what?
Racing.
You have a full suite of safety systems, including Hyundai's popular blind view monitor, where the cameras and the side mirrors shoot backwards and give you what you see on the dashboard. You have one choice of what you can pick with the Ioniq 5N, and that's color. That's it.
Which is orange is a good one.
It's a beautiful one. Now, these are all glossy colors if you want. They're very, very fun and extremely attractive matte blue, and it's going to set you back a little over $1,000.
Yeah, but it's a good blue.
How do you wash matte paint though?
You just don't. So, two things I like about it. Number one, it is the design leader inside and out. The exterior design is incredible. The interior visual design is incredible. I love how this car looks inside and out. The second thing I like is the custom configurability and all the different drive modes. I think that is a super fun trick, and it shows that this car was made by enthusiasts. Two things I don't like. Number one, it has a shorter range than the Mustang, just a factor of those big gnarly tires, I think. And the second is that it does have a hefty price premium over the Mustang.
My two likes are the big infotainment system as well as the instrument cluster. For similar reasons to Clayton, it's configurable, it's exciting to look at, there's animations in it, but it still has that functional side. I like that Hyundai's given us no options outside of paint color. Here's everything we have in our parts bin.
It comes loaded.
It comes loaded. The other thing I dislike is, counter to my first point, you can't do anything with this vehicle. Like, I don't want the retractable sunshade. I do want a sunroof, which you cannot get here.
When you say you can't do anything, you mean you can't add options to it?
Yeah, that's it. Okay. You can pick your paint color, but as far as customizability like we have with the Mach-E, it's not here.
All right, well, it's time to pick a winner between these two.
All right, well, let's do it outside since it's not raining.
Let's do it. All right, well, now that we've stressed our necks and driven around these two breakneck performance EVs, it's time to pick a winner. Now, here's my pitch for the Mustang. I'm gonna try and sell you because Jay likes the Hyundai. I like the Mustang. Number one, a $9,000 discount. This starts at $9,000-ish below the Hyundai.
Okay.
A sizable price advantage for the Mustang. Number two, within a tenth of the 0 to 60 time. And it has 100 kilometers additional range, more or less. So, more range, less money, just about the same performance, and we both agree, comfier seats.
I see your points, Clayton, and I appreciate them.
Oh.
But I'm gonna unplug them with my points.
This is a highly charged decision of yours.
If you have an EV, you will likely have a level 2 charger at home. So yes, there is 100 kilometers less here, 96 to be specific, but unless you're doing long road trips, it doesn't really make that much of a difference. And if you do long road trips, you can just use your favorite app to make sure you're on your way quicker.
Okay.
So range, negligible. Yes, I realize it's almost $10,000 more to get this, but this comes with everything and more than the cooled seats, more than the head-up display. You're getting a whole world of fun, usable, and relevant tech here, which you don't get in the Mustang. You don't get the fake burbles and snaps and crackles.
I do love the fake gears. They work so well.
And as you heard in the previous parts of the video, it's the closest thing you can get to a muscle car internal combustion engine vehicle that we have on the market today. And Hyundai's first to market with this. And yes, everybody else is going to start doing it. And you brought up a really good point off camera about what Ford could do.
I think that, you know, we're gonna have over-the-air downloadable sound packs, which would make, you know, inside the car, you can choose to make this Ford Mustang Mach-E sound like a 1966 Mustang or a Ford GT. I think that this is a super cool thing that Hyundai has started that other people will very soon copy, and I think the future of it is super customizable. Like in this one, you can just choose engine sound, but I think in the future, you get to choose a lot more than that.
Maybe.
So that's a really good point, Jay.
Over and above that, you can customize a lot more for how you want your N1, your N2, but it's not just a matter of N1 is fast, N2 is faster. There's so many ways to customize it, and there's different levels within those customization menus. So I feel you can do a lot more, and you can really tune, if that's a word we can use for EVs, the Ioniq 5N the way you really want it.
I think in the end, you won me over with your highly charged electric arguments.
I will give you one thing for the Mustang that this doesn't have, a front trunk.
That's true. The front trunk in this is nice because it's secure, it's lockable. You can put kind of things in there. So the rear cargo area of this one is larger, but this one has a frunk. Well, Jay, you convinced me. I do like the comfier seats, the longer range, and the equitable performance of the Mustang, but in the end, this is a more engaging vehicle to drive. It doesn't really give up that much in practicality, and I maybe would agree that it's worth the extra price. So the winner of this comparison for me is the Hyundai Ioniq 5N.
So there you have it. The winner of this comparison is the 2025 Hyundai Ioniq 5N.
But it was close.
Let us know what you think in the comments. Make sure you engage with us on our social media platforms. And we're always happy to connect and have respectful discussion about why the Ioniq 5N was the right choice, or are you Team Ford? And for all your news, reviews, and information you can use, visit our website, which is Driving.ca. For Driving.ca, I'm Jay Canna.
And I'm Clayton Seams, and don't forget to check out our full written review of these two cars.